All right, class. The last video that you had watched looked at the origins of the rise of the Populists with the National Grange Movement, or the Patrons of Husbandry, in 1867, and I left it where these Grangers were starting to get elected and found some success in these states of the upper Mississippi Valley, like Illinois. And once they were in office at the state level, they started to attack some of these special interests that they saw that posed as the greatest threat to the farmers. And they wanted to regulate railways, they wanted to regulate the grain elevators, they wanted to regulate the grain storage warehouses, that they felt like were taking advantage of the farmer's situation of being so isolated and not really having many choices when it comes to their industries. If you think about it, if you looked at the railroad lines that were going out west during the 1860s, most of the time there's only one major line that is going to reach these towns. So the farmers really didn't have a choice, but well, they had a choice. You know, either you comply or you don't get your crops, you don't get your cows delivered back east where the markets are. And so they're really tied, you know, or hamstrung by their location. Now, you did see some success in the 1870s with these Granger politicians, notably in Illinois. There was a big Supreme Court case called Munn, M-U-N-N, versus Illinois in the 1870s, and this is when the court ruled that, you know, states can regulate business when it is it's in the interest or it's in the general welfare, as an interest of the public good. And so they won some major court decisions, and they won some major political victories in the 1870s. However, in the next decade, in the 1880s, you will see these interests fight back with their high-powered lawyers, and you see a couple of judicial reverses, notably in the Wabash versus Illinois case of 1883. Illinois had placed a tax on some interstate commerce, and the court ruled that only the federal government has that right to tax interstate commerce and to regulate interstate commerce. This court case, while it's a setback for the farmers and the Grangers, it does lead to the creation of the Interstate Commerce Commission, which will then be a federal government agency that regulates interstate commerce, and then later in the 20th century will regulate communication as well that goes across state lines. And so you do see you know, the farmers make some strides, suffer some setbacks, but they're slowly starting to group together, slowly starting to get involved in politics, and they're starting to see some results. All this discontent is going to manifest itself in the late 1870s with the Farmers Alliance that is founded in Texas. And the Farmers Alliance is going to have the same sentiment that the Grangers had, and you want to break the grip that these money interests had on the farmers by joining together as a collective unit, and you have collective buying of materials, and you have collective selling of your goods, and so that whole idea, in strength there's number, or in numbers there's strength. And by 1890 you'd see over 1 million members of this Farmers Alliance. However, they do exclude sharecroppers, tenant farmers, farm workers, and African Americans. And this is a big deal because at this time, you know, in the South, over half of the agricultural production came from these groups. So you do weaken yourself by excluding certain demographics, and that's always going to be, even with a populist party, that unwillingness, or that inability to hurdle that race obstacle, that racial obstacle, will continue to be a thorn in their side. The Farmers Alliance is going to give way to the People's Party, the Populist Party, that is going to be formed in the Midwest, and it's going to see its first action on a national level in the national elections in 1892. In 1892, the Populists get together, and they declare their platform or their the list of issues and their stances on it, and this will become known as the Omaha Platform. And the Omaha Platform directly attacks the money interest, and it directly attacks the threats to the farmers. They want nationalization or government control of the railroads. They want nationalization of the telephone and the telegraph industries. They want unlimited coinage of silver, which, going back to that money question, will be the rallying cry and will be the thing that attracts most people to the Populist Party. They want direct election of senators. They want election reforms like the private ballot or the secret ballot. They want what else do they want with the Omaha Platform? Hold on, let me look at my notes. Oh, they want a graduated income tax. And a lot of these issues, or a lot of these planks on this Omaha Platform, while they might not be adopted and they might not see success in the 19th century, they will be picked up by the progressives in the early 20th century, and you do see some of these issues being put into law and find some success with the progressives. Some important people or some notables with the Populist Party of the late 1880s, early 1890s. A Kansas woman named Mary Lease, known as Yellin' Mary. She was reported as saying that people in Kansas need to raise less corn and more hell. And so you do see these people starting to get more vocal, and they're telling America that they cannot be laughed away. In the 1892 election, they start to win congressional seats, and their presidential candidate, James B. Weaver, actually gets over 1 million votes in the presidential election. And more importantly, it shows that the Populist Party is starting to reach beyond its agrarian base of the states of the Midwest, beyond just the farmers, and they're starting to attract the urban workers as well. And so the question going into the next election of 1896 is, can the farmers and the workers, can the quote-unquote have-nots, can they break the grips? And your book says it great. It's a great line. Can they can they launch a successful attack on the northeastern citadels of power? I don't know where they come up with these sayings, the northeastern citadels of power. Can they launch a successful attack against the railroads, against the steel and oil industries? We'll find out. And in the next videos, we'll look at in 1893, a depression hits, and you start to see more action being taken by people that will become part of that Populist Party, that People's Party coalition. We'll see jobless people on the march with Coxey, and then we'll see the turning point in American politics with the 1896 election with William Jennings Bryan versus McKinley. And we'll look at that in the future videos, so stay tuned.